Queens is the easternmost and largest in area of the 5 boroughs of New York City, geographically adjacent to the borough of Brooklyn at the western end of Long Island. Coterminous with Queens County since 1899, the borough of Queens is the second largest in population, with a census estimated 2,321,580 residents in 2014, approximately 48% of them foreign-born. Queens County is also the second most populous county in New York State, behind neighboring Kings County, which is coterminous with the borough of Brooklyn. Queens is the fourth most densely populated county among New York City's boroughs, as well as in the United States, and if each New York City borough were an independent city, Queens would also be the nation's fourth most populous city, after Los Angeles, Chicago, and Brooklyn. Queens is the most ethnically diverse urban area in the world. The differing character in the neighborhoods of Queens is reflected by its diverse housing stock ranging from high-rise apartment buildings, especially prominent in the more densely urban areas of western and central Queens, such as Jackson Heights, Flushing, Astoria, and Long Island City, to large, freestanding single-family homes, common in the eastern part of the borough. In neighborhoods that have a more suburban layout like neighboring Nassau County, such as Little Neck, Douglaston, and Bayside, Queens has the second largest and most diversified economy of all the 5 boroughs of New York City. The borough is home to 2 of the 3 busiest New York City metropolitan area airports, JFK International Airport and LaGuardia Airport. These airports are among the busiest in the world, causing the airspace above Queens to be the most congested in the country. Attractions in Queens include Flushing Meadows Park, home to the New York Mets baseball team and the U.S. Open tennis tournament, Kaufman Astoria Studios, Silver Cup Studios, and Aqueduct Racetrack. Queens was established in 1683 as one of the original 12 counties of New York and was named for the Portuguese Princess Catherine of Braganza, who was at the time Queen of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Queens became a borough of New York City in 1898. From 1683 until 1899, the county of Queens included what is now Nassau County. History. Colonial and post-colonial history. European colonization brought Dutch and English settlers, as a part of the New Netherland colony. First settlements occurred in 1635, followed by early colonizations at Maspeth in 1642, and Vlissingen in 1643. Other early settlements included Newtown and Jamaica. However, these towns were mostly inhabited by English settlers from New England via eastern Long Island subject to Dutch law. After the capture of the colony by the English and its renaming as New York in 1664, the area became known as Yorkshire. The Flushing Remonstrance signed by colonists in 1657 is considered a precursor to the United States Constitution's provision on freedom of religion. In the Bill of Rights, the signers protested the Dutch colonial authorities' persecution of Quakers in what is today the borough of Queens. Originally, Queens County included the adjacent area now comprising Nassau County. It was an original county of New York State, one of 12 created on November 1, 1683. It is believed that the county was named after Catherine of Braganza, since she was Queen of England at the time. The county was founded alongside Kings County and Richmond County. On October 7, 1691, all counties in the colony of New York were redefined. Queens gained North Brother Island, South Brother Island, and Hulot's Island. On December 3, 1768, Queens gained other islands in Long Island Sound that were not already assigned to a county but that did not abut on Westchester County. Queens played a minor role in the American Revolution, as compared to Brooklyn, where the Battle of Long Island was largely fought. Queens, like the rest of Long Island, remained under British occupation after the Battle of Long Island in 1776 and was occupied throughout most of the rest of the war. Under the Quartering Act, British soldiers used, as barracks, the public inns and uninhabited buildings belonging to Queens residents. Even though many local people were against unannounced quartering, sentiment throughout the county remained in favor of the British Crown. The quartering of soldiers in private homes, except in times of war, was banned by the Third Amendment to the United States Constitution. Nathan Hale was captured by the British on the shore of Flushing Bay in Queens before being executed by hanging in Manhattan for gathering intelligence. From 1683 until 1784, Queens County consisted of 5 towns: Flushing, Hempstead, Jamaica, Newtown, and Oyster Bay. On April 6, 1784, a 6th town, the town of North Hempstead, was formed through secession by the northern portions of the town of Hempstead. The seat of the county government was located first in Jamaica, but the courthouse was torn down by the British during the American Revolution to use the materials to build barracks. After the war, various buildings in Jamaica temporarily served as courthouse and jail until a new building was erected about 1787 in an area near Mineola known then as Clowesville. The 1850 census was the first in which the population of the 3 western towns exceeded that of the 3 eastern towns that are now part of Nassau County. Concerns were raised about the condition and distance of the old courthouse, and several sites were in contention for the construction of a new one. In 1870, Long Island City split from the town of Newtown, incorporating itself as a city, consisting of what had been the village of Astoria and some unincorporated areas within the town of Newtown. Around 1874, the seat of county government was moved to Long Island City from Mineola. On March 1, 1860, the eastern border between Queens County and Suffolk County was redefined with no discernible change. On June 8, 1881, North Brother Island was transferred to New York County. On May 8, 1884, Rikers Island was transferred to New York County. In 1885, Lloyd Neck, which was part of the town of Oyster Bay and was earlier known as Queens Village, seceded from Queens and became part of the town of Huntington in Suffolk County. On April 16, 1964, South Brother Island was transferred to Bronx County. Incorporation as borough, the New York City Borough of Queens was authorized on May 4, 1897. By a vote of the New York State Legislature after an 1894 referendum on consolidation. The eastern 280 square miles of Queens that became Nassau County was partitioned on January 1, 1899. Queensboro was established on January 1, 1898. Long Island City, the towns of Newtown, Flushing, and Jamaica, and the Rockaway Peninsula portion of the town of Hempstead were merged to form the new borough, dissolving all former municipal governments within the new borough. The areas of Queens County that were not part of the consolidation plan, consisting of the towns of North Hempstead and Oyster Bay, and the major remaining portion of the town of Hempstead, remained part of Queens County until they seceded to form the new Nassau County on January 1, 1899. At this point, the boundaries of Queens County and the borough of Queens became coterminous. With consolidation, Jamaica once again became the county seat, though county offices now extend to nearby Kew Gardens also. The borough's administrative and court buildings are presently located in Kew Gardens and downtown Jamaica respectively, 2 neighborhoods that were villages of the former town of Jamaica. From 1905 to 1908, the Long Island Railroad in Queens became electrified. Transportation to and from Manhattan, previously by ferry or via bridges in Brooklyn, opened up with the Queensboro Bridge finished in 1909, and with railway tunnels under the East River in 1910. From 1915 onward, much of Queens was connected to the New York City subway system, with the 1915 construction of the Steinway Tunnel carrying the IRT Flushing Line between Queens and Manhattan, and the robust expansion of the use of the automobile. The population of Queens more than doubled in the 1920s. From 469,042 in 1920 to 1,079,129 in 1930. In later years, Queens was the site of the 1939 New York World's Fair and the 1964 New York World's Fair. LaGuardia Airport, in northern Queens, opened in 1939. Idlewild Airport, in southern Queens and now called JFK Airport, opened in 1948. American Airlines Flight 587 took off from the latter airport on November 12, 2001, but ended up crashing in Queens' Bell Harbor area, killing 265 people. In late October 2012, much of Queens' Breezy Point area was destroyed by a massive 6-alarm fire caused by Hurricane Sandy. Geography. Queens is located on the far western portion of geographic Long Island and includes a few smaller islands, most of which are in Jamaica Bay, forming part of the Gateway National Recreation Area, which in turn is one of the national parks of New York Harbor. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Queens County has a total area of 178 square miles, of which 109 square miles is land and 70 square miles is water. Brooklyn, the only other New York City borough on geographic Long Island, lies just south and west of Queens, with Newtown Creek, an estuary that flows into the East River, forming part of the border. To the west and north is the East River, across which is Manhattan to the west and the Bronx to the north. Nassau County is east of Queens on Long Island. Staten Island is southwest of Brooklyn, and shares only a 3-mile-long water border with Queens. The Rockaway Peninsula, the most southerly part of all of Long Island, sits between Jamaica Bay and the Atlantic Ocean, featuring the most prominent public beaches in Queens. Flushing Bay and the Flushing River in the north, connecting to the East River. The East River opens into Long Island Sound. The midsection of Queens is crossed by the Long Island straddling terminal moraine created by the Wisconsin Glacier. Climate. Queens and the rest of New York City has a humid subtropical climate with partial shielding from the Appalachian Mountains and moderating influences from the Atlantic Ocean. Queens receives plentiful precipitation all year round with 44.8 inches yearly. Extremes range from 107 degrees Fahrenheit to -3 degrees Fahrenheit. Winters are relatively mild compared to other areas of New York State, though snow is common and blizzards occur about every 4 to 6 years. Springs are unpredictable and can be chilly to very warm. Summers are hot, humid, and wet. Autumn is similar to spring, while snowfall generally begins in December. Adjacent counties: Bronx County, Nassau County, Kings County, New York County. Neighborhoods. 4 United States Postal Service post offices serve Queens, based roughly on those serving the towns in existence at the consolidation of the 5 boroughs into New York City, Long Island City, Jamaica, Flushing, and Far Rockaway. In addition, the Floral Park Post Office, based in Nassau County, serves a small part of northeastern Queens. Each of these main post offices have neighborhood stations with individual zip codes, and unlike the other boroughs, these station names are often used in addressing letters. These zip codes do not always reflect traditional neighborhood names and boundaries. East Elmhurst, for example, was largely coined by the USPS and is not an official community. Most neighborhoods have no solid boundaries. The Forest Hills and Rego Park neighborhoods, for instance, overlap. Residents of Queens often closely identify with their neighborhood rather than with the borough or city. The borough is a patchwork of dozens of unique neighborhoods, each with its own distinct identity. Howard Beach, Whitestone, and Middle Village are home to large Italian-American populations. Ozone Park and South Ozone Park have large Italian American, Hispanic, and Guyanese populations. Rockaway Beach has a large Irish American population. Astoria, in the northwest, is traditionally home to one of the largest Greek populations outside Greece. It also has large Spanish American and Italian American communities, and is also home to a growing population of Arabs, South Asians, and young professionals from Manhattan. Nearby Long Island City is a major commercial center and the home to Queensbridge, the largest housing project in North America. Maspeth and Ridgewood are home to many Eastern European immigrants such as Romanian, Polish, Albanian, and other Slavic populations. Ridgewood also has a large Hispanic population. Jackson Heights, Elmhurst, and East Elmhurst make up a conglomeration of Hispanic, Asian, Tibetan, and South Asian communities. Woodside is home to a large Filipino-American community and has of Little Manila, as well a large Irish-American population. There is a large presence of Filipino-Americans in Queens Village and Hollis. Flushing, one of the largest neighborhoods in Queens, has a large Asian community. The community consists of Chinese and Koreans, as well as Hispanics and South Asians. The neighborhood historically contained Italians and Greeks. Richmond Hill, in the south, is often thought of as Little Guyana for its large Guyanese community. Rego Park, Forest Hills, Kew Gardens, and Kew Gardens Hills have traditionally large Jewish populations. Also known for large and growing Asian communities, mainly immigrants from China. Jamaica Estates, Jamaica Hills, Hillcrest, Fresh Meadows, and Hollis Hills are also populated with many people of Jewish background. Many Asian families reside in parts of Fresh Meadows as well. Jamaica is home to large African American and Caribbean populations. There are also middle-class African American and Caribbean neighborhoods such as St. Albans, Queens Village, Cambria Heights, Springfield Gardens, Rosedale, Laurelton, and Briarwood along east and southeast Queens. Belrose and Floral Park, originally home to many Irish Americans, is home to a growing South Asian population, predominantly Indian Americans from the northern Indian state of Punjab and the southern Indian states of Tamil Nadu and Kerala. There are some less diverse but still prosperous part of Queens, such as South Jamaica. Corona and Corona Heights, once considered the Little Italy of Queens, was a predominantly Italian community with a strong African American community in the northern portion of Corona and adjacent East Elmhurst. From the 1920s through the 1960s, Corona remained a close-knit neighborhood. Corona today has the highest concentration of Latinos of any Queens neighborhood. Bayside and Little Neck are home to many Italian Americans, Greek Americans, Irish Americans, Chinese Americans, Korean Americans, and Filipino Americans.